tell you that myself, Dennis Ethos, Leon Francis, Jatin Patel are all Cricket Hall of Famer, and Trevor Smith, Professor Sosobone, is scheduled to be inducted into the Cricket Hall of Fame on the next induction ceremony in October. So we are all delighted to be here with you, and if you've been watching the major leagues, you can see that it has been a really riveting series, culminating today in what will be the first playoff matchup between the team number 1 and team number 2, Texas Super Kings and the Washington Freedom. And I know that these two teams have been at it all season, and they have played a lot of exciting matches. So the question is, of the two today, which of the two will walk away with the lion's share, meaning the first victory, and therefore guaranteeing themselves in the final matchup for the trophy? So let's just go around the board and ask our panelists to just give their brief take on what they think may happen today. Let's start with Coach Patel.
Good evening and welcome back.
And
this is the 2025 MLC Season 3, and we are going to repeat last year's history. The 4 teams who qualified are same teams well last year. The only difference is they have switched their position. For the 2025, we have number 1 spot, Washington Freedom. Number 2, Texas Super Kings. Number 3, San Francisco. And number 4, Mumbai Indians, New York. So tonight will be the first game. We call it qualifier. Whoever wins, they'll play in final. Whoever lose, they have to wait for tomorrow game. Eliminator game will be between San Francisco and Mumbai Indian. Whoever lose that game will go home, and the winner has to challenge today's loser in a challenger game on Friday. So stage is all set. Excitement is building up. The heat is catching up for sure. That should be the only concern, and we have to see how it folds it. But before we proceed and move on to this, so I'll come back later, just around the cross time. So let's have other panelists to talk about.
All right, thank you. Leon, what's your first take on today's match?
Okay, by virtue of the Freedom winning 8 and losing 2 with a finishing record of 16 points, they come up against the Texas Super Kings, who have won some 7 matches, and they lost 3, and a total of 14 points. By virtue of the standing, I reckon that the Freedoms will bring home a victory. But in times like these, when it comes down to the finals, it could be a touch and go, could be an excellent game if the Super Kings come out and do an upset. But if that is the case, whoever loses will still have an opportunity to meet again to see if they can be placed. But my money would be on the Washington Freedoms tonight, and hope that they will bring home the bacon. The players to look forward to, the Freedoms. I think that they definitely will bring it home. They have gone that far, and how they look, they are a very talented unit, and I believe based on that and their performance throughout the season, I don't see them faltering now.
Thank you, Leon. Professor Sosobone, can you give us your intro?
I was impressed with the Texas Super Kings from last year. Okay, I mean, I thought they were the stronger team, better team last year, and in light of the fact that they went up against the Mumbai, New York last year, and these guys are all again back in the running. I just think that the experience from last year is going to help both teams to move forward. But in light of the fact that the Night Riders beat San Francisco, I'm a little bit thinking about that the Night Riders might be on a winning streak, and so I'm looking for the Texas Super Kings and the Night Riders to be facing off going down the road.
Thank you.
He said the Night Riders, but they're not. They're out of the running, aren't they?
No,
Texas
they
Super
beat San
Kings.
Francisco, didn't they?
Super.
Yes, no, San Francisco, the Washington, Texas Super Kings, San Francisco Unicorns, and the Miami or Mumbai Indians, New York are the contenders.
Oh, thank you. Mike, looking at the two teams, and they've been very competitive all season. But I'm going to start off with Texas Super Kings, the team that I think will play. I don't know the lineup just yet, but I would go for Duplessis, Mukamala, Conway, Smith Patel, Ferreira, Mitchell, Ranjani, and for the bowlers, Berger, Milne, Akil Hossain, and Noor Ahmad. That would be the 11 that I would be putting on the team was if I were the manager of the Texas group. Now, when it comes to the Washington Freedoms, I would select Owen, Gose, Steve Smith, Maxwell, Phillips, Ravindra, Holland, and Ferguson, Netravalkar, Berendorf, and Pradakar. So those are the two teams that I'm not predicting, but that's what I anticipate we might see on the field today. Coach, do you agree with me that that might be a squad for both of these guys?
Coach,
This will be the challenging situation. We have another 10 minutes to go before the toss takes place. And I think the most important part at this point, this is the early start today. Local time will be around 6 p.m. Even at this point, we are looking at 94 degree outside. With the humidity and heat index, you feel like 102. So I would say toss time will be important, and we'll see who wins the toss. And definitely, whoever wins the toss will go for the bat for sure. I can tell you that. But the time comes, whoever is bowling or fielding second might go with the additional spinner.
Coach,
So that's
your reason for saying whoever wins the toss may bat first because of the heat factor.
The heat factor, pitch is good. You're going to expect bounce, and later on, what comes, we don't know. We still say scatter showers. So it is better to take the chance, bat first, and put the good score on it. I believe this is the pitch being used in the last month many times, so it will not be disappointing. But looking at the both team strength, the batting strength, I don't think they'll decide to chase. Most likely they'll go for bat first and put the good total on it.
All right, Leon, you heard my team. Did you have any disagreement with the team, or what do you think?
No, I don't have much difference with yours. I think the major players are going to be in the show, and you have named them, so I concur with you.
All right, Professor Trevor?
No, I am not going to disagree with you, but I think, like Leon says, that the one who wins the toss, if you in this heat, if you can go back first and put the other team out there to get drained by the heat and worn out by the heat, you know, keep them out there as long as possible, and then put them into bat afterwards. Then it might have an impact. It might affect their performance. So I agree that winning the toss might be a very important a defining factor for the game?
Well, in the season that just gone by, Texas has batted first in 7 matches that they've won.
Okay.
7 out of 10 they batted first and won the match. On the other side, Washington has batted second most of the time and won their matches. So you can see that this is liable because Texas has no problem batting first and win. Washington has no problem batting second and win. The question is, somebody has to crack today. Is it going to be the bowlers for Washington, or is it going to be the batters for Texas? How does that matchup look to you, Coach?
Again, the matchup should be based on the final 11 they put on it. And I just got the word. The game will start at 8 p.m., not 7 p.m. Eastern time. So will be the good thing to have settled down a little bit hit. And in that sense, we have almost hour and 30 minutes, and this is a pre-game thing. The looking at the roster situation, I will say that the Texas Super King can be a team to watch this year for a reason. Last year they had a good team. They did it well, but unfortunately that's one game and they did not make it. And it's usually come down at the end of the season. It doesn't matter what you have done during the entire season. It's all about what you do today in next 3 hours after you win the toss. The another tweak this year is until last year, MLC was played on just 2 grounds, Dallas as well as Morrisville. But this year they added the 2 more stadiums, one in Oakland, California, and then Fort Lauderdale in South Florida. So with this addition and giving away the Morrisville location, means this team has played all 4 locations before they come to the playoffs. No doubt. In Dallas, they don't have that many games what they played in San Francisco or Florida. The reason for that, in my opinion, they saved the ground usage to make sure that couple of tracks are good to go and ready, especially for these playoffs. And that will be exciting to see what tracks they are using. It means the pitch. To be honest, I haven't seen yet, but very soon I will have word which team going to be preparing the track. And that will be exciting to see. If they are using the fresh tracks, then the both team will have, I will say, new chance on a new track. Don't know what you can expect from the pitch. So it is like too early to say before the toss time, or even very soon, as I said, once they put the stumps and ready to put the markings, then we can say, okay, this is the new track or the one used in last month and preparing for the game.
Yeah, Coach, there's been 3 matches this season between these teams. One was washed out, if I'm not mistaken. And then there was the rain truncated match where Texas batted first in that 5-over game and scored 87 for the loss of 2 wickets, followed by Washington, who performed miserably, sending at least 6 batters in that 5-over spell and lost that. However, I don't really put a lot of emphasis on that rain-affected match. But the first real match that they played, Texas has scored, batting first, had scored 220 for 6. Now, 220 runs in a 20-over match is pretty much heavy hitting. And followed by Washington, who came up batting second and they actually won the match having lost only 3 wickets, because Texas scored 220 for 6 in that first, batting first there, and Washington came back and scored 223 for the loss of 3 wickets. So that kind of sum up the pace at which we can expect these two teams to go at each other. They have a very, very strong lineup, both of them, and they are likely to give us some fireworks here. Professor, have you any thoughts about the 2 matches that have really been completed between these 2 teams?
Well, that is one of my concern, that even though they might be separated by 1 game loss, and I mean they're about 10-2 versus 8-2 versus 7-3. My question is, how many what was how close were the games that they played against each other during the season?
Well, yeah, well, you see, the one full game that I recall, I think one of their matches was washed out of the 3 times they would have met.
Okay.
And it looked like, was it 3? They would have met once, twice. No, perhaps there's only met twice. But one was washed out because of the rain.
Right.
But the other one, the only definitive one that they completed, Texas scored 220 for the loss of 6. And Washington won that, batting second, scoring 223 for the loss of only 3 wickets.
Okay.
So on that day, you can see that Washington had the edge. And very likely that might give you an indication of how things might pan out in this one. Leon, looking at the only time that I think these 2 teams met, we will disregard the rain affected match where it was a 5-over-1. But the other match went to full. It was a full length match where Texas scored 220 for 6, batting first, and Washington 223 for 3. Do you think that's an indication of what may happen tonight in this match?
No, because I'm telling you, I think that both teams are confident in a sense that they won't go home whether they lose or win. They are, if one team loses, still has a chance to play the winner of the 2 teams at the bottom. Okay. So that is something that they have in mind. So tonight, though, I believe both teams are going blow for blow. They're going to be hitting punches, whether they lose or they win. And if they lose, they go gung-ho, as it were, and they lose tonight. It means that they still have a chance to come back and can win the tournament. However, we can't take chances. We never know what will happen with the second match, if it's going to be shortened by rain. So my gut feeling is that both teams are going to go for a win tonight and get that added rest before they meet in the final. But whoever wins will have a sure opportunity to go to the final, but the loser will await the winner of the qualifier.
Right, thank you. We can see that if we look at the players, whether they're playing 11, and I don't know if the playing 11 has yet been published, but based on my thinking, I expect that Duplessis, Ranjani, Owens, and Milne will certainly be there, as well as Noor Ahmad. Now, look at the performance from Duplessis this season. He has scored 409 runs with an average of 51 and a strike rate of 175. So how do you think that tonight's matchup will go in terms of Duplessis against the bowling of, say, Edwards, who's probably well up there in the top 10, of the wicket takers? Duplessis. Coach?
Well, that's a positive side that Pep du Plessis was doing good last year also, but that was just one game. This whole game is all about one ball at a time, and that one ball can change fortune or can bring the disaster, and that is what Texas Super King faced last year. That was an excellent catch, I believe, for the Fab du Plessis. And once he is down, the team went down. And we have seen a lot of on and off in this particular season because these squads are very competitive, to be honest with you. And any bowler can do the good segment. If they bowl a couple of good overs at a time, maybe two or maybe three, the things can change. So in this situation, I will say I will not rely on the all stats so far we have in season. That may be the psychological advantage for you to be in the field where the other team is focusing on you to make sure that you don't get along with that numbers and create a pressure for them. But at the same time, when this number comes, the other teams are looking at your weakness and your strength. Mm-hmm. If you have strength on a batting, the bowler will be extra careful to deliver, to make sure that they don't give away the runs easily. If you are a bowler, it's other way around. You want to make sure that you grab wickets and contain the batsman from scoring. So it does, I will say, whatever is out there, it's a good to have it to begin with. You can put them as a favorite if needed. But unfortunately, in T20, anything can happen. And definitely for today's game, I will go definitely with the Washington Freedom because they have the team, they have score, they have won 8 games out of 10, and that's a good thing to have it. And they have the momentum. They are the defending champion. They have the 2 great bowlers and a couple of good batters. And all it takes, just like last year in championship games, Steven Smith took in charge of that game and the things turned around. For Texas Super King, we are heavily relying on definitely South African Pace and then Nur Ahmed from that Afghanistan. These are definitely on the side. They have to do really well to let them this one game away.
Thank you, Coach. Trevor, we see in the Washington side, we have Glenn Maxwell. How do you think that his influence will play out in today's match?
Well, you know, he's regarded as a team leader, and he has the experience to motivate the team. So on that front, you know, the team is set, but I still think that the Texas Super Kings are hungry. They came close last year, and they had all season to analyze what they didn't do, why they came up short. So they might be more motivated to go out there and tell Mr. Maxwell and the rest of his guys that you know, 2 in a row is not something that they're looking forward to. So if you never had a game that was washed out, they might have been equal. They might have, you know, they might have been 10-2 on the field right now. One washed out game, you know, is a shade right now. So I have to stay with the Kings like I did from last year. I'm not gonna give up on them because they came close last year, and you know, I'm still the Texas Super Kings.
All right.
Thank you, Leon. We have we saw Glenn Maxwell struggle in the IPL last season with his form and with injuries. But how do you see his performance in this Major League Cognizant series this year?
I think he is from wherever it is at this point. He has to give his utmost because this is a performance that will probably lead him to the finals. If he wins, if he loses, he has to play again. But just let me give you the probably 11 that is posted for the Washington Freedom. Michelle Owen, Ravinja, Andres Goose, Jack Edwards, and Jack Edwards to me is an unknown, but he seemed to be doing very well. Glenn Maxwell, the captain, Glenn Phillips, Obias Pinea, Moka Ahmed, Ian Holland, Subra Netravalka, and Lucky Ferguson. These two pacers are definitely two players to watch, and they can break or make the team a success if they were to hit forms or stay in forms. With regards to the Texas Super Kings, I'm watching two players in particular, Akil Hussain and Noah Ahmed. Let me give you the full lineup that is slated to be playing tonight. Smith Patel, the wicketkeeper, Fat Duplessis. We know what he can do. We know Sanjal Ka Mukamela, Marcus Toynes. He has yet to do an outstanding performance, and this is the stage in which he can probably perform at his highest. Subman Ranjani, Donovan Ferreira, and Calvin Savaji. And of course, we talk about Hussein and Noah, and then Zia Al-Haq and Adam Milne. I think teams are set. They have their various strengths. One is in pace and one is in spin. So whichever team strike their form and do well in their strong areas, this can be another factor. But who knows? Winning the toss might decide who bats or who don't bat. But like we said in the onset, if the team wins the toss, we presume that they will bat first and sun them in this blazing heat over there in Texas.
So we can see that I think from my 11, I might have gotten most of the Washington's team correctly predicted. I didn't do so well in the Texas game because I think I heard at least 3 names that I did not have in my 11. Nonetheless, that doesn't take anything away from the team that's been selected because we know every single one of those players coming out tonight will be there giving their 110 or more percent. So we can expect a good game. I know Texas will be counting on Ranjani with his average of 89. I guess in most of those he scored a total of 267 runs, and I can't recall how many innings he's had, but I know he scored 267 and has an average of 89. So that suggests that, with an average of 89, he's probably had 1 or 2 not outs. But nonetheless, he's been one of those who's a nice, steady player in the middle of the park for his team, Texas Rangers. And when it comes to the bowling and the batting, because we have Owens for the Texas Super Kings, he scored a lot of runs, 313, but his average is 31. But looking at his strike rate, now that tells you a lot about the batter. Strike rate almost 200 suggests that he does not mess around when he gets out there, and usually he connects. So the strike rate will be very important today. Duplessis' strike rate is 175, while we have Ranjani as a strike rate of 163. If we try to compare the two, Texas top batters with Washington top batters, we see Maxwell, although he struggled in the IPL earlier this year and with some injuries as well as bad form, he has certainly turned things around and has come up and won games for Washington 2 or 3 times this year. His batting total runs scored this year is 237, and much of that is helped by that century he scored. His batting average has mushroomed up to 34 with a strike rate of 185. And that kind of matched the strike rate of Duplessis at 175. Now we see Owens with his batting average of 31, scoring a total of 313, but his strike rate is 196, and that matches the strike rate and the batting total exactly with Owens, who has the same total number of runs, the same average, and of course the same strike rate. But when we look at Ranjani, his average and strike rate of 163 goes very well with Ravindra. And he's been struggling of late this year. I'm wondering, he scored a total of 193 runs with an average of only 24, but his strike rate is 172. Leon, how do you think that Ravindra will go at it this evening? Is tonight going to be the night where Ravindra turned things around?
Well, there's a young guy out of New Zealand.
Yes.
Yes, he has yet to do something miraculous. I look in this young man to be one of the most talented youths that has come into the forefront in recent times. And tonight might yet be his night. But who knows? Whether they feel or bat first, that could be a factor. So even now, a win of the toss and they get to bat, you may see the best of him tonight. But if he feels he may be drained by the heat, and he's likely to throw over his hands for a few, so that too might be a factor that might affect his performance. But nevertheless, I feel on all accounts, we're going to have a good showing tonight because each team are going to be going neck to neck. Whether heat permitting, and who knows? Tonight might be his night.
Coach, do you think Ravindra can turn things around? He's been struggling of this entire series, and I suppose you could say he might be lucky to be included in the side today. But having said that, he's really struggled all season. Do you think that tonight's the night when he can bring out the aces?
Definitely, he'll be in team. Every player has a downtime. The most difficult part on this year is MLC has been played 4 different locations, but he's a true champion. If you look at his performance since he joined the New Zealand team as a rookie, his overall performance, whether it's a World Cup last year or Champions Trophy, recent IPL performance, and top of that last year's final, he was outstanding. And the good players, we call it legends, usually show up and do their job when the team needs. So today will be the day I'm expecting he'll be the major contributor because he can be a good spinner, good fielder, and absolutely better. On this pitch, especially in Dallas, the multi-tracks, it depends where you play. If you are not playing in a middle pitch, or if you are using either side of the pitch, means it will be definitely giving advantage to the one of the batter, whether it's a right hand or the left hand. And we have seen in opening segment of the World Cup last year, and even last year in MLC playoffs, it depends who has smaller boundaries on the leg side. Say the Ravindra has the shorter boundary on his back because he's a left-handed, then the things can change. And I will not be surprised he can be included because I believe the Washington Freedom's plan should be, let's go for it from the ball one. Make sure we put the big total so our ballers can have enough room to compete. And in that case, I believe they are too strong. If you look at that top six, anyone can put 100. And I will not be surprised if one or two cross 50s today and set the tone for this game.
Dennis, permit me to ask Coach a question there because
Yes, go right ahead.
When I look over this tournament, a number of teams have been dropping a lot of catches. I don't know if that might be a factor tonight. The team that feels last might have some difficulty taking catches if they were to come.
Very good question. Looking at the situation and sweating, the first section, when the heat is on, when playing in the daytime before the night light starts, I believe it will be a little bit difficult for the fielders to grab the ball or hold on to the ball, and that is where this catch it drop situation comes. But later on, only impact can be the light situation, not the weather situation. So let's look at it. I believe this is the game where everyone is upbeat and everybody wants to give 110%. So I'm not expecting those drop catches or misfields here unless somebody do the real hard work and the effort can go in.
Just a follow-up, because I want to ask you, how is this tournament being looked at in India? Are they giving good reviews or not so good reviews?
Not sure on that, but let's check the time and I can tell you what is the time in India and how it can be impacting to them. And looking at the clock, I believe it's a 4:21 a.m. in India.
That's good time.
So I don't think anybody wants to wake up at 5:30 and watch the MLC, but India has a huge fan base. We don't expect the IPL volume to watch the MLC, but there's a lot of cricket players are playing in MLC who is a part of the IPL, and there are some serious fans. They'll wake up and watch. We don't know the number one or audience one.
Now, what I meant though is that if the Indian population or the officials are looking seriously at this tournament as one of their serious tournament, they feel like at least equal or come close to the IPL.
Not close to IPL. In 3 years, I have not heard any prize money for this tournament. We might have here and there some contract money, right? So it's like there is no way to compete IPL, but definitely IPL owners owns the four of the teams. I believe somebody was telling almost 50% or more players are in the MLC who are playing in IPL or having a part of the IPL, and that is the good indicator there that there is a lot of fan base out there and viewers out there looking into to see how it goes.
There's some quarters are saying that the prize money might be 500,000 to 700,000 for the winners.
Well, we have to wait and watch and see what is the official media release on that one. So far, I think first 2 years I have not heard any prize money at all.
Trevor,
Yes.
surprise that Akil Hussain from the West Indies has joined Texas, and he's only played five matches, but he's grabbed already 9 wickets and seems to have been the ace for Texas this particular last 5 matches that he's played. He's come up trumps definitely. So the question is, are you surprised by his accuracy and his efficiency for the Texas Super Kings?
I'm not surprised. I think that he has added some energy coming in at the time he does, because I think Texas won 4 out of the last 5 games that they played, or they won the last 4 games they played, if I'm not mistaken. And the one game they played against Washington, they won it. So, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, that I think the game they played, they won the game against Washington. So, under that basis, they know that they know they've already beaten them, and that they can beat them. And if they have a young stallion who just joined them, who is taking wickets, then Washington might be worried about him, because he was not, because they never faced him all during the season. At the one time they played against the team, they lost.
Thank you. Leon, what do you think of Akilo's contribution for Texas?
It's going to be a major factor, and you cannot overlook the fact that he has Noah to be on the other end as well. So the combination might be the biggest obstacle for the Washington Freedoms. So it's immense that this young man is there, and he's accurate. He has taken some Super Bowl and caught, and he has the ability to be very economical. And if the catches are to be taken, and a few wickets might crumble, might just go towards the spinners, I think there is the strength of the opponents. So let's say that is where they win or lose that match tonight. If those two spinners perform, if they come to the game tonight and perform, and the catches are being taken, I feel this is where they're going to win the match or lose it if they don't succeed here.
Coach, in the spin bowling department, Hossein with his 9 wickets and economy of 5.0, you think Maxwell 9 wickets and economy of 7, going against each other, do you think that one or other will be more influential? Which one do you think can come out tops out of those two?
Well, there are plenty of options, being as an all-rounder. And in the T20, if you are a bowler, you need to be very effective. In terms of the economy rate, lower economy rate is the better. And top of that, number of wickets you can claim. But at the same side, you must be a good batter to collect some runs for the team. And that is where this trend comes. So when you have Glenn Maxwell, Rachin Ravindra, I believe they will be heavily loaded towards those batting all-rounders who can bowl some. And in that case, we have to wait and watch to see who wins the toss. To me, Akeem Hussain may get a shot if Washington Freedom has to field later part.
Thank you, Coach. Now let's take a quick look at this year. We've got the MLC being played in Oakland, in that stadium. How do you think that experiment worked out, Coach? Is that a successful attempt at introducing cricket in a baseball stadium? Was it not too small? Did it play well enough, that wicket that they brought in from New York? What's your take?
I think we discuss on the regular radio show on that one. The venue itself is a positive and important for the game of cricket. Number 2, the fan base. The area has more cricket fans than anywhere else. That's number 2. Number 3, our infrastructure is not in great shape as of right now. In last 60 plus years, we haven't seen any board initiative to develop any facility in this country. And when MLC started with the Dallas Stadium first, and now they are expanding into San Francisco Bay Area, even though it's a makeshift baseball stadium into a cricket stadium with drop-in pitch. Ground is a small, definitely, but we haven't seen a lot of other grounds in New Zealand are smaller. So it's as long as the grounds limit stays same for the both teams, I'm not much concerned because the both team has the same advantage and disadvantage. And in that stage, I will say initially first two game or three, it did provided a good entertainment for the fans, high scoring games. Very first was really high scoring game, and so on. And then so is like drop in pitch. I'm not fan of it, and I haven't seen that drop in pitch can do well after 3 4 games. But it's a makeshift short-term goal to see. It's a good initiative, I will say. And anything happens, just like we've seen in a World Cup when they did that pop-up stadium in Long Island, New York, and this drop-in pitch wasn't doing well in I think first 3 4 games, and ICC did made a open statement that this pitch is not acting as we expected, and later on they tried to fix it, but I think time was short and we don't have too many games either. And here is the same situation. The San Francisco Oakland Coliseum was only used for a week, right? So it's not much time available for the groundsman to fix if there are any issue. But this is the first experiment, successful experiment. I would say there's a lot of positive feedbacks from the fans and the people who are in the Bay Area. And I'm hopeful to see improved pitch, improved ground in MLC4 next year.
Leon, you've seen the performance on that pitch in Oakland. What is your take on the suitability of the area, suitability of the pitch? Do you think that that drop in pitch was perhaps the way to go for the MLC?
I don't know enough about the quality of the pitches, but I would say that is up to standard. And I think the Texan, or not the Freedom, but the Texas Super Kings, they should be happy that they are home. And that could be a factor. I don't know much about the pitch, but I fancy that is up to standard, because if people were not so, they probably would not have been playing it. But I think there should never be a pitch prepared that is understanded, or something that is rejected. So I think we'll have a good match. Let's put it this way. And the pitch probably won't be any factor.
Trevor,
I think the pitch will be a major factor. I mean, the reason why I say that is that some of the games that we watched, we talk about the wind factor. Okay, hitting the ball into the wind and the ball dies and they catch it on the track, versus in an enclosed stadium where there's no wind factor, so to speak of. And I also think the fact that they are playing on neutral ground also will have a factor. They're not playing they're not playing in front of your home crowd, and normally that has a bearing on most games, or most sports games, when you're playing at home versus playing on the road. So I think that both teams might look at it as an away game, and both of them are unfamiliar with the turf, so to speak. And it being as a smaller park as has been noted, a lot of balls that used to die on the track and get caught might end up being sixes. So the performance that you might get from this game might be contrary to what you'd get from playing in Texas. And more people might be swinging for the beaches because it's a smaller field. So yes, it will be a very high scoring game. And it is the bowlers who are gonna suffer. Okay.
Coach, this is the second year of the MLC. How do you assess this year compared to last year?
It's definitely improved. There are a lot of things are happening at the administrative end as well as the management end. And recently, this year, as all of you know, that they have added the CEO, Johnny Graves. He was former West Indies CEO, and now he joined the MLC. And they are improving. And as I said, since last year, the Morrisville wasn't a full side stadium capacity or full of with amenities was used. Where this year they take it out that venue and they added the San Francisco and Florida. And these are the three grounds now in terms of we can label it the real stadiums with the amenities and player facilities we need. And that is the first step towards the improvement. And I will not be surprised if they add one or two more venues in 2026. So MLC is on its right track as expected. It's always hardship challenges out there, especially for cricket in this part of the Western world of the globe. And this will be difficult to bring the fan base, but they are doing their best and they are improving. And we will see based on the attendance tonight in this playoff because the Texas Super Kings are the home team, which is the Dallas base. And I'm expecting a lot of local fans cheering up for the home team.
All right, thank you, Coach. Now, we have seen the talk of development of cricket in the US as a result of MLC. Can you expand a little bit on perhaps the development so far and whether or not it's going ahead, whether it's slowing, whether it's actually moving in the right direction?
Well, there is a huge potential, and when I look up towards the academy side and youth cricket program side, and it definitely is picking up momentum, and the growth is there. If you compare last 10 years of the youth cricket, I believe they are almost 4x or 5x times than what we had in 2015. So since then, this is picking up. More talented players are playing, whether they are playing local tournaments, national tournaments, or regional levels. And we can see the number of youth cricket programs as well as academies are growing up. But still, the most important and missing component in a particular cricket development in US is infrastructure, the high-end facilities, specifically stadiums. We have very limited number of stadiums and are in use, and that's how World Cup was ended. World Cup used just Dallas Stadium, Florida Stadium, and then also that makeshift pop-up stadium in New York. So we are still in that situation where I feel that in next 3-4 years we need at least 6 stadiums in a different part of the US. We already have Dallas, which is fine for Texas. We have in Florida, which is good. Now we got in a base area, but then we still have missing part is definitely New York side and something in Midwest, Atlanta, Chicago, somewhere. And that can definitely pick up the additional momentum at a rapid speed needed.
Coach, while you're still in the hot seat, we know that MLC has spoken about expansion, meaning they're growing. But the question is, what is the limit that they can expand this series of Major League to?
I don't think they have a limit. So recently they announced that they will be adding the one more team in Toronto. Means MLC will be expanding just like the NBA. NBA used to have a team from Toronto and Vancouver. And so does cricket is going that route to have one or two teams in Canada and they can be part of this Major League Cricket and so on. I will not be surprised for the 8 team in US. Most likely maybe this winter we'll hear more. But I hear a lot of talks going on, a lot of rumors there. And again, I will not be surprised if we see the 8 team in MLC during this off season. It may be Chicago, maybe Atlanta, maybe somewhere else, but I believe they have the agenda and the goal to make sure that they expand. So next year we will see 8 teams. And if goes well, and if we get the more potential venues, because right now the two important thing, to my knowledge, are critical is the schedule itself for the USS MLC T20, and then also a venue, right? We don't have enough locations to play this game. Schedule is definitely a most important thing here because right now MLC is being sandwiched between the IPL and the CPL, and there is a slim window. Plus, this is the season, they call it monsoon, but there's a heavy season is in England. So this is like always a concern about it to find the right window to play all these games. And going forward is becomes more difficult to schedule because this year they are going to play altogether 34 games when you have 6 franchise. When it goes 8, I'm expecting 45 plus games. And that takes like either longer schedule or the more venues or more double headers on these existing locations. And if you do that with the existing location, then the performance will go down. It may be good at the beginning, but in a month time, if you are using these pitches more frequently, and the quality of the pitch performance can go down. So definitely they need more venues and more teams are not in limit.
Dennis, can I just ask Coach a question? Because I'm concerned, though, that in as much as I sense that lots of Americans are kind of getting to like the sport, I don't think enough advertising of the various matches are being done. I don't know if what is restricting them, if the price that we cannot get people into the beautiful city of Lauderhill. Because I was really surprised that I don't think the entrance fee is out of the reach of many spectators in that area. I don't know what is causing them not to have people in the stands. And that, to me, affect the whole tournament in itself. So I don't know your take on it, but I'm just not impressed with the crowds that we're getting, especially in Lauderhill.
One thing is very clear and simple in my almost close to 40 years in US. When it comes to the cricket, I still see we are trying to sell ice to Eskimos.
Right. That's right.
And look at the all sellers. They are either Caribbeans or South Asians. So we need to break this Titanic for sure. It's not easy to buy the American fans into the cricket because we are not competing among them. Right? Let me tell you right now what's going on here. Even you want to watch this MLC, is a few channels, and only we are the one knows where it is. And we haven't reached out to the major audience. For example, if you are Super Bowl in US, almost 200 countries are watching them at no cost to anybody. Make sense? By the way, it may be too big. I'm scheduled to cover soccer here, Major League Soccer this week. What?